Let's go! Woo! Let's go! Come on! Do you ever get jealous and resentful watching people get what they don't deserve? I can't help it. I don't care if I'm not virtuous or I sound resentful and self-centered. Since I was a teen, I see so many people that are not rejected by the environment when they were younger and could express emotions and opinions without social anxiety, could approach who they wanted, could say what they wanted without overthinking or over-evaluating what they were saying. They started the game off without having to learn social norms, without having to be forced to adapt, without being battered by the world. Some of them were naturally good-looking and charismatic. We had to develop that. They magically made right choices and built momentum, whether it's being raised by mentally healthy parents or simple luck. But from a very young age, they had the liberty to take life lightly, to go with the flow, and automatically developed beliefs and habits they can follow that aren't delusional or unhealthy. There's also situations where we're told to be a certain way in order to be acceptable, but after changing ourselves to fit the mold expected of us, we see people do completely otherwise. Act how we wanted but was thought was unacceptable by the environment, yet they are not denied and sometimes even praised for it. That's hella confusing and can goddamn be frustrating as hell and sometimes even depressing. What reflected this for me was the villainization of masculinity. When I was younger, I spent most of my time with my mom. Her side of the family was also mostly women. I also grew up having anxious, ambivalent attachment, which essentially means I was treated inconsistently, and everything I do, I'm very careful because I'm afraid somebody can take their love away from me. My parents are quite volatile, and they would used to explode into emotions, whether I did something right or not. Kind of a air example here, but for example, I would beatbox around the house, and sometimes my father would find that acceptable, so he wouldn't say anything, but sometimes he would scream at me for being annoying. So you could see how I was kind of confused. I didn't know whether it was right or wrong because sometimes it was acceptable and sometimes it was not, depending entirely on their emotions. This leads to me confused, frustrated, anxious, and to me making mistakes would subconsciously mean I deserve less love. So I lived life trying to make as little mistakes as possible, trying to be the perfect guy, even though my idea of perfect was just agreeable and lifeless. So I would navigate life being one who sacrifices everything I have, be always present, afraid to tell the truth, afraid to be competitive, afraid to disagree, etc. I was not only raised to be feminine, but I was taught by the media that masculinity was evil, being competitive, being arrogant, being adamant, being cutthroat, caring about how I looked was wrong, being physically fit was wrong, and wanting to be respected or attractive is wrong because it's superficial. I grew up inept of personality, boxed myself in to fit into what people say because I thought that was what was going to help me become accepted. I didn't think of being able to communicate as a skill. I didn't think of the beauty of connecting with people. Friends come and go. I was riding the horse of time with my hands off the reins, letting it take me wherever. I thought it was cool to go with the flow and not take life seriously. I became one of those nice guy incels. Why couldn't I not be conscious about my decisions and be equally as accepted as those people who naturally fit in and are naturally accepted and praised? What I realized is who we are told to be. These things they demand of us, that we are afraid that if we do not follow, we'll be denied, they are all tests. The truth is, they tell us what to be because they feel threatened by a powerful, dominant man. I always felt like they didn't have to sacrifice. They didn't have to suffer to learn what we did. How is that fair? How is it that there are 25-year-old sexless men who are still confused and clueless about what they are doing wrong? They listen to what they are told. They listen to what women say is attractive in a man, and yet they have no one. They are lonely, desperate, frustrated, and bitter. Some even become incels and are berated for it, even though it is common knowledge that these incels probably became who they were because they experienced an accumulation of desperation, despair, and heartbreak. Us who take life seriously and attempt to improve socially, to look better, to be more mentally healthy, to set rules for ourselves, force ourselves to face discomfort and become disciplined, abstain from bad habits. We're often made fun of, those people who weren't conscious about their decisions and were given quite a decent hand in life do not see how we can miss out on love. They deem people who are rejected as simply they did not work hard enough to be loved. Like we chose to not be charismatic and not be sociable. They believe that living is about adapting. We believe that living is about confronting and taking responsibility for the decisions we make. I find that most of these people spawned into being accepted by their environment are very dependent on how the environment treats them. Once their luck runs out, they'll simply see it as it is. Oh, life will bring me problems and their circumstances are not a result of their decisions. They deal with problems by sitting through them and letting them pass. They don't actively do things when they cannot find the motivation. They don't confront, tell the truth, because they don't want to hurt other people's feelings. I slowly learned to aim to become my ideal self. You're going to criticize me for being childish and superficial here, but this is me being honest with myself. I hated that girls chose guys who had traits that I was told was wrong to have. I believed that the kinder, the more sensitive, the more agreeable, the more thoughtful I was, the more attractive I would be. My whole life they told me to be this way, and I succumbed. Deservingly, I had the personality of a plank because I did not dare to tease, insult, disagree, argue, tell the truth. Why the hell would I be attractive? Nowadays, I still catch myself being bothered by girls who pick lesser men instead of me. Of course, that's wrong because I'm the best there is. By lesser men, I mean those who don't take care of themselves, obese or underweight, not articulate and immature. Slowly, I learned to take pride in being a mature, fun, playful guy who would laugh off things that bothered him. And when you embody the identity, you start making decisions like the identity, and then you become the identity. I think the thought process was, how would my ideal self do it? How would he react to these situations? What would your ideal self's mindset be to be less negative about how you see things? I want to be strong and competent, be cutthroat, be competitive, and prioritize my own. Help whenever I can afford to not receive anything back. Countless people don't know how to think for themselves, how to act for themselves. They blindly believe this virtue signaling trap. If something you do isn't virtuous and selfless, you're told you'll be denied for it. Living life trying to be virtuous with the sole intention of being admired and being desired for is absolutely no compass. Your life will be controlled and swayed by what people feel like imposing onto others. Pointless promotion and stuffing virtuousness down other people's throat is ironically the least virtuous thing someone can do. I see all these young men confused, angry and bitter, and naturally if they want things to improve, they turn to solutions that people tell them would have them be more accepted by the environment. I listened to what they said would be more attractive, and I ended up alone. You sell your soul to other people and they would trample all over you because you didn't have the strength to reevaluate what they said. This lie you were sold is a test of willpower, your character. I failed this test. I succumbed to this and I was abandoned by so many people, shunned by so many people because I always gave way to others. I villainized fitness, caring about how I looked was cringe, caring about how I dressed was superficial. Easily I was left at the bottom of the social hierarchy because I didn't value my time and capacity. One who always gives deserves to be one who is always taken for. I didn't receive any respect. I didn't receive any love and affection. Stories of superheroes and dramas. You know why giving and being selfless is so damn admired there, but when you're selfless in real life, you're discarded. Because those that are giving in the stories are already powerful. They have the liberty to choose whether to give or not. They can choose to throw away their responsibility and make bad choices, but they always try to make the right ones. That's what makes it so magnetic. Choosing to do the right thing no matter the sacrifice is absolutely beautiful. But if you're not powerful, and if your family and your tribe is not taken care of, what the hell are you giving? My parents raised me, poured their hearts and souls into raising me, sacrificed so much for me just to selflessly give myself away. Of course, I'm all for protecting other people, standing up for other people. I find that all absolutely amazing. What I'm talking about is this perpetual need to give away yourself to other people. This need to always be there for other people, thinking that is what makes you important. Listen and give advice and be their therapist, even when they don't do the same for you. Hell no. I woke up. I felt alone, but my parents sacrificed way too much for me to be wallowing in self-pity. I pried myself out of my fucking grave and I began to walk again. I'll never go back there. I'll act on my own ideals. I'll fight for my own. Their lies won't ever stand a chance again. I begin to take life seriously, confront life head on, and see every extension of life as a path of progress, something that is within my control. I deliberately looked at everything like a skill to be improved, and started getting better in every aspect of living. I'm going to become the person I wish to be, and no one's going to stop me. Those of us who had to dig ourselves out of our circumstances, those of us tired of superficial relationships, acting in ways just to make ourselves appear more desirable, more attractive, and more acceptable. Those of us who had to willingly make the choice to change, to start fighting for ourselves, to confront the world. Those of us who started off shunned and rejected and had to deliberately build our self-esteem, self-respect, self-worth from the ground up. We are unstoppable. We're going to do everything in our power to make our past selves proud. We are the strongest there ever is. We don't have to lower ourselves to let people feel better about themselves. We don't have to act like we aren't angry so that we remain virtuous and kind and giving. We don't have to praise people for them to like us. We don't have to lie. We don't have to try to fix people to feel important. We can say no. We don't have to let them tell us what is attractive or not, what is right or wrong. One thing does not always lead to another. To feel more in control of our lives, I find that we always try to conceptualize things. We try to reason with things and what one thing can lead to. I think that sometimes the answer can be as simple as do what your instincts tell you. Do what your ideal self would want. Instincts, not actions controlled by fear or the concern of what people would think of you, not your trauma or your habitual thoughts. I'm talking instincts, what you want to do but are always afraid of doing. Of course, please don't go around murdering people or raping children, but approach that person you wish to speak to. Make that offensive joke. Offer your hand out to people, even if it risks people saying that you only do good for superficial reasons. Say no when somebody asks for something and you don't want to give it away. Be playful, be loud, be insensitive if you want to be. Trust your decisions. Become someone you will respect, even if the only person that does is you. Stand for what you believe in, even if it means standing alone. The world is in your hands, man. You can choose who you want to be. Let go of the regret, the anger, the fears. You can be strong. You can be respected. You can be vocal. You can be angry. You can hate. You can love. You can become anything you want. We don't need to be frustrated, jealous, or upset anymore. Go take what's yours, brother. To a better world.